Hello everyone, welcome to SolveStream. Now here is the fifth question of chapter number 13, exercise 13.1. This question says, in a retail market, fruit vendors were selling mangoes kept in packing boxes. These boxes contained varying number of mangoes. The following was the distribution of mangoes according to the number of boxes. So this is the data given regarding the number of mangoes and the number of boxes. Here we need to find the mean number of boxes kept in the that means we have to find the mean of this data, and we can use any method except for the direct method because the values are bigger here. The direct method gives us a larger values, so it will be difficult for us to calculate. So the easier ways would be either the second method, that's the step deviation method, or the assumed mean method. So I'm going to apply the step deviation method here. So let's draw the table for that. So let's draw a table with 6 columns. We're doing the step deviation for this, and we need 6 columns to make the table. The first column is for excise, and the second column is for the frequency Fi. The third is for the xi mark, which are the mid values of the class intervals. Then we have xi minus a, then you have ui and ui fi. So let's start with the class intervals, which is the number of mangoes here. This is 50 to 52, 53 to 55, 56 to 58, 59 to 61, and 62 to 64. Let us write the frequencies, which are the number of boxes. This is 15, 110, 135, 115, and 25. So next is excise. So excise are the mid values of this class interval. So this can be found by adding the lower limit and the upper limit and dividing by 2. So for this 50 plus 52 divided by 2, we get 51. Similarly, for this we get 54, 57 for this, 60 for this, and 63. Now next is a column where we have to find xi minus a. So what is a? A is an assumed mean, which is the mid value of this excise. So here 57 can be taken as a. So we have to subtract this 57 from each of the excise. Let's do that now. 51. So 51 minus 57 will give us negative 6. And 54 minus 57 is negative 3. 57 minus 57 is 0. 60 minus 57 is 3. And 63 minus 57 is 6. Now here comes the next column where we have to do xi minus a by h, which is nothing but the ui. That means we have to divide each of this by h. So what is h here? H is the class interval, the length of the class interval. Here the length of the class interval is 3. So we get the values as 6 divided by 3. That means minus 6 divided by 3 will give us negative 2. And this is negative 1. This is 0. This is 1. And this is 2. So here we have divided just all the xi's minus a by 3. Now next comes the last column, that is ui fi, where we multiply each of these ui's with this fi's. Okay, let's start with the first one. 15 into negative 2 will give us negative 30. 110 into negative 1 will give us negative 110. And 135 into 0 is 0. And 115 into 1 is 115. And 25 into 2 is 50. Now it's time to add fi's and ui fi's. So that means we are now finding sigma fi here. So if you add all of this, that is 15 plus 110 plus 135 plus 115 plus 25 will give us 400. And here there are negative and positive values. Just add the negative values. We get negative 140 for this, and this is positive 165. So negative 140 plus 165 will give us a positive 25. So this is nothing but sigma ui fi. Now let's apply the formula. X bar equals a plus sigma ui fi divided by sigma fi, and this whole thing multiplied by h. Now let's substitute the values, where a is equal to 57 sigma ui fi is 25. It is this value 25 divided by sigma fi is 400. So let's write 400 here, multiplied by the length of the class interval, that is 3. So this will be equal to 57 plus, you multiply 25 with 3, you get 75 divided by 400. So it is 57. So if you do 75 divided by 400, you get 0.1875. And when you add 57 and 0.1875, you get 57.1875. So this is the mean that we have got. But it's not the answer yet. We have to conclude the answer by writing the answer in the sentence form. Like it says, find the number of mangoes kept in the packaging box. So we'll write the number of mangoes, the mean number of mangoes, the mean number of mangoes kept in packaging box is 57.18. Or you can even round the answer, because you cannot have mangoes as 57.18. You can round this answer as 57. Let's do the sixth question here. It says the table shows the daily expenditure of food of 25 households in a locality. So this is the data given to us, which is the daily expenditure and the number of households. We have to find the mean daily expenditure. So we will use the step deviation again, because the numbers are larger. The calculations becomes easier when we use the step deviation method, or also the assumed mean method. So let's make a table with 6 columns. We are using the step deviation method here. The first one is for the class interval. That's the daily expenditure here. So we'll write 100 to 150, 150 to 200, 200 to 250. There we have 250 to 300, and next columns comes for the FI, which are the frequencies, the number of household here. So let's write those values: 4, 5, 12, 2, and 2. Next comes the exercise, which are the midpoints, mid values of 100 and 150, the class intervals. So it is 125, 175 here, and this can be found out by just adding the lower bound and the upper bound and dividing it by 2. So for this it will be 225, for this it is 275, and here it is 325. The next comes the column for xi minus a. So here a can be chosen as 225 because it is the mid value of all these xi's. Now we have to subtract this 225 from each of this xi. Let's do that. So for the first one, 125 minus 225 will give us 100, a negative 100. 175 minus 225 will give you a negative 50. 225 minus 225 is 0. 275 minus 225 is positive 50, and this is a positive 100. The next comes is xi minus a divided by h, which is ui, which is nothing but the ui. So now what are we doing here? We are dividing each of these values by h, where h is the length of the class interval. Now for h, go to this column. It is this value, like 100 to 150. You just have to subtract 150 from 100 to know the length of the class interval. So in this case, it is 150 minus 100. So it is 50. The h, which is the length of the class interval, is 50 here. So we are going to divide each of these values with 50. So let's do that now. Negative 100 divided by 50 will give negative 2, and this will give us negative 1, and this is a 0 here because 0 divided by anything is 0. 50 divided by 50 is a positive 1, and 100 divided by 50 is 2. Now let's come to the last column, which is UIFI. In UIFI, we multiply the FI values with this UI values. So it is 4 into negative 2, which will give us negative 8. Then 5 into negative 1, which is negative 5. 12 into 0 is 0. 2 into 1 is 2. And 2 into 2 is 4. Now we are done with the table. Now we have to calculate the sums. That is the sigma FI here and the sigma UI FI here. The sigma FI will be equal to 4 plus 5 plus 12 plus 2 plus 2. Sigma Fi will be equal to 25. And here this is sigma UI Fi. So if you add these negative values, you get negative 13. And if you add these positive values, you get a 6. So minus 13 plus 6 will give you a minus 7. Now it's time to apply the formula. Let's apply the formula where x bar is equal to A plus sigma UIFI divided by sigma Fi, and this whole thing multiplied by H. So here A is this, which is 225. So we'll substitute the value 225 plus sigma UIFI is this negative 7. So we'll write negative 7 here. By sigma Fi is 25. So we'll write the value of 25 here multiplied by the length of the class interval, which is 50 in this question. So solving it further, we get 225 plus and minus will give us negative 7, and you can cancel this with this, and you get a negative 2 here, a positive 2 here. So you get 225 minus 7 into 2 is 14. So the answer is 211. So you conclude the answer by writing that the mean daily expenditure on food is 211. I hope this video is very helpful to you. For more such videos, subscribe to SolveStream.